Hello and welcome to this episode of Music with Tony Toppi. Today's episode will be focusing on the natural minor scale. And like with all the other theory-based topics we've been covering, we're going to look at writing the scale, singing the scale or playing, and hearing. So firstly, this one should be a relatively easy topic because you have already done the key signatures and major scale topics, and this is just a very easy direct follow on from that. So very easily, the minor scale, the natural minor scale, comes out of the major scale. So just to stay easy today, we're going to stay in bass clef, and I'm going to stick with C major as a starting point. So that's our 8 notes of the C major scale, sounding like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So as usual, I'm singing in solfa. And this is an excellent way to do your scales because it gives you a really good grounding in some sort of musical language. Okay, so the natural minor scale. The minor scale is based on the La of a major scale. So if we simply write out a scale starting on the La of the major scale, so in this case it's an A, and for the purposes of being easy to read, I'm going to drop the A down an octave, down to there. I'm going to put my 8 notes. And that's actually it. The natural minor scale is a major scale starting on the La note, or if you prefer numbers, the 6th note. And you'll see there's actually no alteration at all between the C major scale and the A natural minor scale. They're actually both exactly the same scale, just the one starting on A is the natural minor scale. So let's do another example, and let's move back to treble clef. So we'll do a major and then its corresponding natural minor. And this is actually a really good way to learn your relative majors and relative minors. We will in a moment go through their relationships between majors and minors, but for now let's just look at writing them. So let's do another one. Let's go to F major. And you should know that there is a B flat there. I'll put my solfa in. So F major. And as we said before, the natural minor starts on the La. So that in this case that is a D. And for the ease of writing, I'm just going to drop that down an octave. So there's our D. And apply that B flat because, as we said before, the natural minor is just the major starting on La. I've just highlighted So there in full just because that's going to be important for the next episode when we talk about the harmonic minor scale. So D natural minor. And you know what? Since we're here, let's try just one more example. Let's go a little bit more complicated and let's go with A major. So A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do. So A major, Find the La, which is there. It's F sharp. No need to change the octave. It's in a pretty good spot already. And just continue on. F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So, La. And if you matched up all those notes in between the major and the minor there, you'll find they actually all correspond, meaning Re is B in both scales, Mi is C sharp in both scales, etc., etc. So this scale is actually going to be called F sharp natural minor. So that's a pretty simple and easy way to write the scales. Now let's get to singing them. Head back up here to our C major one, why not? So our major scale sounds like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And a really good way to practice that is actually to sing or play the major scale up and down as I just did. But on the downwards version, keep going down until you get to the bottom La, and then go back up again to La and back. What does that sound like? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. So I'm getting to the end of my range there. But that last that last octave was actually the natural minor scale. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. And that's probably a pretty good way for you to practice all the natural minor scales and the major scales together. So just as another little example, I won't sing this time, I'm just going to play. This is actually the D major version, but going into the B minor. For example. Another example, I'll do the E flat major, which will go into the C minor. Etc. And you can go on and on playing through all 12 major scales and all 12 minor scales. So, what are the scales? What are they and how do they relate to each other? So I'm just going to grab us another page here. Here we go. So, the relative keys. So, to illustrate this, I'm going to actually write out all the letter names up the top. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I'll do another lot as well. B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. So on one side we'll do the sharps, on the other side we'll do the flats. So here we go. We'll start with C major, which has nothing. So major has no sharps or flats. As we said before, find the La note. So if C is Do, so we're starting there, and we go C, D, E, F, G, A, and that's our La note. So that's the relative minor. I'll just change colour so we can see how the rest goes. Let's go to G major, so starting here, and that's Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So, La, E. You can see why I've got you to write both or two sets of the notes there. Next one would be D major, so put a bigger arrow there. Then D, E, F, G, A, B is the next one, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through every single one in that way, but let's continue on anyway. So the next scale across, as you know from our key signatures episode, A. And then over here on the minor scale, if you count up 6 notes from A, you'll actually arrive at F. But because A major has an F sharp in the key signature, we must apply that here. Same thing would occur here. E and C sharp. B and G sharp. F sharp and D sharp, and then we sort of circle back in a way, C sharp and A sharp. So these are the sharp keys. And also, if you remember way back in our key signatures episode, there was that rule of 5s. Counting up by 5 will actually give you the next scale. Same thing applies here. A plus 5 will get you to E. Plus 5 will get you to B. Plus 5 will get you to F sharp, etc., etc. So that still applies, which is pretty nifty and handy. Okay, let's continue here. So this is going to be the flats. Major, minor. So as we said before, C and A go together. And we sort of asked you to memorize the first of the flat key signatures, which was the F major. Count up by 6 or go to the La, and you get D. B flat, G. E flat, C. A flat, F. D flat, B flat, G flat, E flat, F flat, D flat, and finally circle back to C flat and A flat. Sorry for that little scratch noise there. I'm not sure if you heard it. It was my glasses scratching on the microphone. So they are our flat keys. And once again, just like in the previous key signature episode, flats we knew we counted up by 4. A up by 4 is D. D up by 4 is G. G up by 4 is C, etc., etc., etc. So that brings us to our, I suppose, our final part of the activity today, and that's how do you hear them? Well, this is where your interval training really comes into play. So a major scale starts with these 3 notes. Isolate just the first and third note and you get. And you should remember that Do, Mi is a major third, which is probably why the major scale is called major. Because of that third note, it will tell you straight away that it is a major scale, or at least the beginnings of a major scale. The minor scale, however, starts with what we'd expect, a minor third. Isolate, La, Do. As you know from the intervals episode, that La, Do create a minor third, La, Ti, Do. And that's going to be the beginning that you'll know that you're listening to a minor scale. So major third for a major scale, minor third for a minor scale. I encourage you to listen very carefully to the scales in that way. The one little thing also to remember with the natural minor scale is the last 2 notes. Because in most music studies there are quite a number of minor scales, the beginning will tell you if you're listening to a minor based scale or a major based scale, but the ending will tend to tell you which type of minor. So the ending for a natural minor sounds like this, which hopefully you would know is Sol, La, which is a major second, as opposed to a Si, La, which is a minor second or semitone. We tend to expect scales to end with a semitone, but the minor scale or natural minor scale actually ends with a tone. And that's the way to hear the natural minor scale as opposed to any other minor scale at the moment. One last little fun fact, when we get to studying modes, the natural minor's other name, or I suppose more historic name, is called the Aeolian mode. Just a little thing to keep in the back of your mind. So thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, comments, or you want me to give you any of these notes, please email me at tonytoppi@me.com.